Hello everybody, how you doing? My name is Sech Mataz. Welcome to the place to be tonight. And that place is the Indigenisation Dinner hosted by the minister himself, Comrade Kasukuwere. Well, in the last 3 weeks, he has hosted various young people on social platforms, which is Twitter as well as Facebook. There are various competitions that were won, and we have 200 winners who are going to be hosted for an amazing dinner by the minister tonight. But the idea behind this is to award young people an opportunity to speak face-to-face, man-to-man, or woman-to-man to the minister himself. They have some burning issues, and they have some serious questions they'd like to have attended to. So we're going to be checking out what's going on today, the place to be. Don't go nowhere. Guys, welcome to this very important occasion. Are you looking forward to meeting with the minister?
Definitely.
Okay, you got some serious questions for him?
Definitely.
All right, okay. That's all right. Never too late to start.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Dr. na minister yekuwa na farm number implements
nema inputs then ndo kwanza utangira hapa.
All right, good luck, John. See you inside. What are you going to ask?
Well, that much I have to think about it.
Is it? Hello.
Hi,
What's your name?
Cindy.
Cindy.
Yes.
Are you looking forward to this fantastic evening with the minister tonight?
Yes, I am.
What do you want to ask him?
I want to ask him if the indigenization policy is really working.
Do you think it's working?
I'm not quite sure.
Are you sure about that? Do you not know not one person who's been indigenized and empowered? Okay, how do you want to be empowered?
How do I want to be empowered? I don't know. Get help.
You want money?
Yes.
Good luck. Hope you speak to the minister. Yeah, okay. All right. I'll see you just now. Okay, I've just gotten off the phone with the minister. He's on his way. Tonight is indeed a spectacular evening. It's a spectacular night. People are having a great time. Ruth Mbangwa streaming away, playing some popular hits to entertain some of our youth today.
Ready to listen? Chenge mudiwa wangu saende kure. Chenge mudiwa wangu saende kure. Ukandisia moyo wangu ungavaruka. Ukandisia moyo wangu ungavaruka. Unika gara ulitejo uchiboneka boneka. Just a little bit of help. Unika.
The food is going to be amazing. Got a lot of hungry young people. But besides the hunger, they're interested to find out what is going on with the indigenization in this country. It's almost as controversial as the land reform policy. So let's see what goes on. The minister's going to come through, spend the evening with young people. There's about 200 people who have won this Facebook competition, which was held by the Team ZANU-PF Facebook in the last 3 or so weeks. So I'm really interested to see how it's going to go down. Stay with me. This is quite interesting. The response has been overwhelming. I'm taking a look at the Team ZANU-PF Facebook page where young people were invited to participate and get in touch with this really interesting page. And the question has been in the last 3 or so weeks on radio, people were invited to come through and like the ZANU-PF Facebook page with a question or two which they would like to ask the minister if they were given an opportunity to do that. And we've got around about 200 seats available for dinner this evening. I see there's more than 250 people who've already liked this Facebook page. Let me just look at some of the names here. Brighton Mafumo Lovemo Mira, Charity Temboko, Arnold Kavukemate, Willie Makumbe, Joel Magombedze, David Chimushonga, Wellington Madimuri, Aisha Nikki Mazidza, Rose Kimbini, Tafadzwa Mande. There are a lot of people who got in touch, not just from Zimbabwe, but from beyond our borders, like Lawrence Chinyere, Elias Zengeya, Monica Sway, Trimo Majira, Blessing Chabika, Robert Sitole, Clarence Wata, Anthony Garande, Isaac Kaseke, Tendai Nube, and a whole lot more other people got in touch. Some of these likes are quite interesting. I see a lot of people were actually concerned about how they can personally benefit from the indigenization policy. And a lot of people really want that clarified by the minister tonight. So it looks like, Minister, you really have this job cut out for you this evening. Robert Sitole says, I'm 24 years old. I am born free, and I'm also the breadwinner. I am looking forward to empowerment because I want to make sure that I take my younger brothers to school. Wow. Also have one here that reads, Blessing Chabiga, Boram Gedino going back, my comrades, just 5 minutes away before the end of the match, and we're going to score as ZANU-PF. But my question is, how can I benefit as a young person who does not have a degree but have the mind to work for a living? Yeah. Zico Charita says, hi, I rely on my only parent who's going to work at the moment, but that's very difficult for him. My father passed away. He therefore says, I want to be able to also provide some sort of income for my family. How can I best do that? I see that a lot of people who've gone to school may have degrees, but they are not employed. I want to be employed or create employment myself in order for others to benefit from my blessing. All right, let's find out what happens tonight when the minister comes face to face with young people. All right, okay, welcome. I'm actually, oh, he's here, so I'm gonna have to let you go. Go settle down, enjoy the show.
Okay,
see you later.
thank you.
Okay, the minister's here. Minister, good evening, welcome.
Good evening.
How are you? Amai Kasukuwere Magadieng. Welcome to this very important occasion. And I see you are the support system for the minister, because those young people out there, they are not playing games, Minister.
I'm also ready for that.
Are you ready for
I
this?
didn't come here to play.
Thank you so much for coming through and gracing us. Okay, and we'll see you inside. Enjoy
Great.
the evening.
Thank you very much. How are you?
And the minister walks in.
Can you imagine the minister versus the youth of our country? That's a battle I don't want to miss. Come join me.
And that's where you guys could come in. We'll link you up with some of the young people who are producing a lot of horticultural products. Kumamisha, vasingazive kuenda ku kuno negotiate a good deal. We're not able to go to Interfresh to negotiate. Then you go and market their products and you just get a small percentage per person. And that way you bring business to them, but you also make money for yourself.
Yeah. You want to ask the minister some questions? Why don't you come now? Yeah, now. He's about to start. You see, everybody keeps calling me about wanting to speak to the minister. I think in the next couple of minutes, the question and answer section of tonight's dinner may begin. I don't want to miss that.
Congratulations. I'm giving you this assignment. I want the young people of Zimbabwe to be involved in the economy. I want the young people of Zimbabwe to start a new revolution where our own economy is run, directed, and developed by Zimbabweans.
Minister, the first question I've got is, I've read the manifesto and it talks quite clearly on utilizing underutilized assets to empower the people of Zimbabwe. Of concern to me is the assets that local authorities own in this country. I'm talking about public toilets, I'm talking about public pools, I'm talking about parks, I'm talking about a lot of idle assets that local authorities own that could be used as an opportunity to empower people.
You know, the city of Harare went into some arrangement, a parking program, which I had my reservations about it. But that basically indicates to you that in terms of process and policy, we can be able to do exactly that. But what is required is an overriding acceptance by local authorities that in actual fact, we should take advantage of the skilled manpower that we have in this country, empower them to run some of these amenities and be in partnership with them. I'm sure you're aware that the country, in terms of government policy, we have the triple P policy, the public partnership program. We can all have it cascade to these kind of institutions, and we can have young people like yourself, an architect, running maybe less brown pool in Harare, the park, etc. In fact,
okay, the second question has got to do with employee share ownership schemes. I've read, it looks good, but what guarantees do we have that the shares are going to be distributed equally amongst the employees that work for an organization?
In terms of our statutory instruments that govern the conduct of companies when they're allocating shares, we want to ensure that the 10% is shared on a pro rata basis equally across, so that workers, apart from the salary that they earn on a monthly basis, they're also due to dividends, companies making good profits. Those profits must be seen to be flowing to the generality of the workforce. And this has been working very well in some of the companies. I can give you as an example just now, the BAT scheme. Workers at BAT have got 10% shareholding. They've just received a very healthy amount of dividends, shared across all the workers equally. At Old Mutual, it has happened. Schweppes, it is happening. So, in essence, where we've started the share ownership schemes, we are seeing benefits. But we've also had to deal with some of the resistance that some of the companies have been putting up against the workers. And that is something that we'll deal with. So I'm sure that the workers will benefit equally. We don't encourage or let alone condone use of muscle to muscle out those who have no power. And this is something that as a ministry we've legislated for and said when a company is indigenizing, a minimum of 10%, maximum to about 28%, must be for the workers. And the workers must share equally across the board.
My question is, are there any other financial programs that are yet to complement the Kurela Youth Fund? As my brother has said, the funds are not enough to cater for all of us. We are a huge group of the population. We need more funding. And even to access this funding, because it's not enough, the 5,000, we don't even access it. In I, for one, I'm a victim because I was on 3 weeks, and NASA says I'm under 3 weeks, I don't know how many months. Which means the funding is not enough. Minister, in your own capacity as a minister, please, Maringa, please. being spectators of our economy. We want to participate. We want to develop this country. Please, Minister.
Now that's the war talk now. If you look at our manifesto, we've talked about $300 million. We are talking again of the restructuring asset to support two critical areas in our society, the youth and women. $150 million to young people, $150 million for women.
Amen.
Because we have realized that actually the appetite is far greater than the capacity at Tangata Kwanza mobilizer. Start Big Bang, $20 million. But I know the pains young people are going through. The same with the cabs, CBZ. Barclays Bank said they were going to do $10 million for us. It can be done. 31 July will change things in this country. Because mabenge saya vari kuzviziva takamirirana so 31 ivo vakandimirira ndakavamirira. So game race rekuti empowerment yanga isingasenze ranga riri premise on my elections. This is why we have not made serious progress and traction. Barclays could afford to defy us because the Minister of Finance will say, no, msape my indigenous and basarese. Talk to me, it's enough. If I can have something for our party for the campaign, that's okay. This is what was happening. Now you saw me engaged in rhetoric. It was because it can be done. In fact, Stanbic Bank in their proposals to us set aside $100 million for youth funding in this country. But they're dragging their feet on the 20 million. I think they've so far done about 5 million. So Mariacho Eriko, it's not because of Mari, but because Tangatisna policy congruence, and it. Mumaruka kata nekuku. Mumaruka kata nekuku. So nyaya hapo they are 31. 31 Boram Ged Giera Pinda. Takwenda. Vano uya vega msa 31 msanetse kafana. If you look at the structure that we've come up with, number one, the communities. Number two, workers. Number three, the national fund, which is basically also an equalization fund. In communities where we don't have resources, we expect those areas or those companies where we are benefiting to have our national fund look after areas without. So it's not about the chefs. In fact, I'm chef. I don't my chef because now it's just like if a Zimbabwean has land, the chef. The objective of our law is to get our people to have something. Now, if the fight is about keeping our people poor, then we're not going to be part of it. We are going to fight a fight that will ensure that the whole country, at least at the end of the day, we have a middle class, where everybody has a decent capacity to look after their families. This is what we're talking about as we talk of indigenization. Our young people have ambitions, have hopes and aspirations.
So far, so good.
Those can
Minister
only be met
is presenting
if we
his
place
main
these resources
speech for
at
the
their
evening,
disposal.
alluding to
So what we have to
with regards
do is bring on board the youth of Zimbabwe.
But earlier
Let's
I had an
find
opportunity
creative
to meet
ways
with him
of
in
empowering
his office,
and
and
making
this
them
is what he had
the
to say.
soldiers.
And I'm driving now. I'm off to the minister's office to see whether or not he's available. You know, the guy is a very busy man. Hoping that he can make some time to have dinner tonight with over 200 young people who want to know what indigenization is all about in Zimbabwe. Hey, man is going to prepare for a barrage and onslaught of various hard-hitting questions from the youth of Zimbabwe. Good luck, Minister. This this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to actually go into one of the business offices in government today. And I'd like to welcome the Honorable Minister, Kasukuwere. How are you? Welcome.
I'm great, Tish. Thank you very much for coming.
Are you prepared for tonight's debate with all those young people? I know that you invited them to write to you, but they have some serious questions lined up for you.
Well, are they prepared for me? It's the other way around. We organized the event so that at least we can discuss with them. And I'm sure they are ready. And we, as a ministry and our team, we're more than ready for the occasion tonight.
Fantastic. I was going through some of the questions, and I tell you, a lot of them are pretty venomous. Young people are demanding to know. And one of the biggest issues, of course, is indigenization and empowerment. Have you done well in the last 2 years?
Well, we have done exceedingly well. In fact, the very fact that today most of the people, it's the talk in town, empowerment, indigenization. And the more we interact with the young people, we'll be able to give them the success stories and also the failures that we've had to encounter. But looking into the future, I think it's a bright day for all of us.
Well, the questions really are based on the fact that, are you taking this particular demographic seriously? Young people are demanding to be heard and to be empowered. What's your response?
We have empowered young people politically, now economically and socially. The president of this country, President Mugabe, has said it on more than one occasion that it's time we place the young people at the center of economic development, at the center of our political systems in the nation. And this is already happening. Look at the number of young people who are standing as members of parliament. I'll give as an example in my political party. Half of the candidates in Harare are below the age.
I must congratulate you on that. It seems you're the only party that has embraced young people.
Well, it's a part of the future. We are the People's Party. We've gone as low as 25 years. 2 young candidates at 25 years, all of them. And economically, we have made huge strides. Youth empowerment facilities, skilling, education, preparing our young people for that responsibility in the economic arena in Zimbabwe. These are some of the issues that we'll be discussing tonight, but we'll also be able to say to them, you know what, we did not succeed on area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll give them exactly why we have not been able to succeed.
Well, Honorable Minister, I will not preempt some of the questions on tonight's debate. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you later.
See you tonight.
Evening, Minister. My question is, what measures are there that have been put in place to make sure that the underprivileged Zimbabwean can partake within the indigenization program? I look at the land reform, and that was by act of law, so people could partake with that. And also, I know that there are avenues that you've already put in place, such as the loans through the youth ministry, but faced with the current liquidity crisis that we have, the government can only do so much. Are there any other measures beyond that?
Thank you very much, Atenda. If you look at our current farmers who are producing tobacco, this year alone they have done more than $500 million. And assuming that bright men like yourselves, chartered accountants, were to help them channel their resources, just 10% of what they've made, which is $50 million, and we allow or work together, and this is how it's going to work, with the NIF. When we take all these shares and we place them with the National Empowerment Fund, we've talked about the Harare Stock Exchange, which is only for indigenous persons. I'm looking at the poor farmers, if we can call them poor any longer. I'm saying they can buy those shares individually, as schemes, as cooperatives, as a collective grouping of people. That's number one. Number two, we are actually in the process right now of setting up the Public Service Investment Corporation, which will basically look at the workers in the civil service. They must also participate, so that at the end of the day, this process yields benefit to all our people, not just a select few. Yes, we're all poor, but one thing that I've seen over the past year, in terms of the mobile penetration, it appears that every Zimbabwean has $1 to buy airtime. Now, if we can save $1 on airtime and buy a share in the platinum industry, that will certainly change the individual. They will start benefiting. These are some of the schemes that we have. with regards to this collective scheme where all the shares will be floated on the Harare Stock Exchange for indigenous citizens only. We've also been very systematic in terms of how each individual will benefit. It will use your ID number and ensure that everybody is limited to a given number of shares so that you do not encourage individuals trying to grab more than other people. We want to give all our people a fair chance. Of course, some will do better than others, but in terms of these shares, we are looking mainly at the platinum shares. They will be listed very shortly on this Harare Stock Exchange, and those we expect farmers who have made their money selling tobacco to buy the share, keep the share register, keep the shares that they have bought, and take them to the bank, use it as collateral to get the loan for the next season. But whilst the share is appreciating, you're also benefiting from the dividend stream that comes with most of these mineral companies. So these are some of the schemes that we have, which are meant to ensure that the majority of our people benefit. But beyond that, you've talked about something that we've done for the youth on the side of the youth fund, ordinarily also for the communities. This is why we set up the community share ownership schemes, which is seeing already for us communities benefiting by way of roads, clinics, schools, water, and so forth.
We know the government seized, I think on average it was 28,000 hectares from Zimplats. So this is what we... Yes, okay, repossessed. So this is what we want to know is also how can we actually be part of that? Because we haven't heard anything about redistribution in Malenza.
The empowerment policy is meant to ensure that Zimbabweans make full use of our own resources. I think the president is on record calling upon metallurgists, mining engineers, assayers, you name them, to come forward to government and say, this is what we have. I'm happy that you've come forward today, this evening. If you want to come forward now, let's arrange, you come nicely to the office and say, Minister, this is what I require. I'll ring my colleague, the Minister of Mines, and say, this is what the young man has. Very ambitious project. It will require much more than the KEBS facilities. It requires development financing. Hence, we're also talking about the restructuring of the Development Bank of Zimbabwe, the IDBZ, for it to have greater capacity to support serious projects like you have, mining. But your biggest asset and your biggest contribution will be the ownership that the state can give to you of the claims and mineral resource, which is what will help you to negotiate with others. And I hear you, you just want to do what I'll term the software issues. Get your boreholes, get your geological data in place so that when you negotiate, you are not negotiating from a position of weakness. So this is very welcome. We are encouraging our people, even those in the diaspora, to come back home, sit together, like you have said, and work a plan out. I'm not the Minister of Mines, but I think I have enough clout to liaise with my colleagues and say, I think this young man has a good project. There's huge capacity in this room, just in this room. If I were to disburse $30 million, it would be finished by the time we leave this room tonight, because there are serious people here. Thank you.
Indigenization has effectively neutralized the threat of sanctions. You see, so we are making history. Indigenization is a model of economic development. So we should be extremely proud of it, and it's going to succeed.
$5,000 uye mwana ari kupena $10 so tino ane potential kuti agocrack.
We have the capacity in terms of our skills, right? In this room, we've got lawyers, we've got all these people, but no one is actually engaging the process directly, right? To keep knocking and saying, okay, because I don't have all the answers myself, and as NIB.
The program, you're very happy. What is the problem? So here we are. Bafana Nika Ndedu. Fight. Don't be scared. We cannot become slaves again, never. The development, Zimba. Where are those people sourcing the window frames? Door frames?
Cement.
Right. Yet the youths were in I'm going to get some drains. I got relax. I think I'm a window shower. I think I'll do it. Now, talk about the indigenization, the empowerment. Tutor the ability to see an opportunity for Gary. Because you want to buy machinery. $5,000 will not even assist you to buy just even one small computer for that. So we are aware of that. Hence, if you look at our program, we are talking directly about how we can mobilize more resources to support manufacturing sector. And this will be targeted, eh? Where are you based?
I'm based in Glenora, but we interact like we are...
Let me give you my number. 0772.
We are graduates.
Eh? Mondere. Ah. 601. I was here 6.
The following thing,
yeah, 0772 601 150. Okay. CSO is made up of guys by Senzamu industry. But today, CSO is perhaps the busiest place in Zimbabwe. In fact, market aina control, but we must formalize it. Get those guys back into my factories. No paruku nyanga shtaurwa na uyu. Ye kuti todaona no batsera vana. Kuti vasaramba vachibreaka mutemo. In fact, mutemo yedu isa encourage vanhu kuchikora. Mutemo yedu must encourage vanhu to conform and comply. Yeah. Why don't you, Eweru Glenora, monovura my youth council chapters? So that immediately we start feeding into the National Youth Council. Because Magaira Malu's attached, we must keep in touch almost like as soon as possible. Let's get in touch again and move your processes forward. You're a graduate.
Political science.
You like me?
Like you. Just talk about two more commanders. Since you've got the opportunity to go and see the Honorable Minister and talk to him on our behalf.
No.
Are we still relevant?
No, you are, of course, you are. No, we have a program meant for even my graduates at my universities. That's why I want Dr. Stebo to give an explanation. And I think, guys, problem at IO, we've not been communicating issues. Yeah.
Of course, I plan.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. They need the register of all the people who have been participating here today, so that we can communicate much more closely. We've met. Some colleagues might leave earlier, but we need to be able to communicate much more constantly.
Good evening once again. My name is Tich Mataz. I'm glad to be part and parcel of this very important roundtable tonight. We are hosted by the Honourable Minister, Comrade Kasukuwere. Thank you once again for allowing for us to come together as young people in our nation to discuss pertinent issues in relation to who we are and the opportunity available for the youth of this country. Let me welcome various members of this roundtable, starting off with Dr. Chitepo, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Did you enjoy what the young people had to offer tonight?
Well, I've enjoyed this, but it's also been very important and very significant because, yes, the ministry is involved in many programs. We have opportunities to meet with young people, but tonight has been fantastic in the sense that we've now been able to hear directly from many more who are already with suggestions and ideas about the ways to move forward. So this has been a really good.
Absolutely. Minister, were you surprised at some of the questions posed?
Well, very interesting and very encouraging. Intelligent questions were posed to us, but more importantly were some of the suggestions that also came through. And I think the young people are ready and raring to go. And I think we must capture this spirit, and I think we have a bright future as a country.
Indeed so. A lot of people recognize your role in society today, but people sort of think that indigenization is a revolutionary policy, very much like the land issue. Do you think it's got anything to do with the economy of the land, or is it a political policy?
It's a very important transformative policy that is meant to ensure that at the end of the day, our own people drive the process of developing our own economy. It means, as Zimbabweans, we become all involved. It's about inclusivity. We must be included in the economic processes, political processes, social processes. So the empowerment program and the indigenization builds on the success that we have already scored, the land reform program, the political process on its own when we fought and dislodged the colonial administration. And today, look at the vision of His Excellency: education, land, now empowerment, the economy, mining. These are all revolutionary processes and programs. In fact, one would call it's an epochal moment in our history.
Well, thank you so much, Comrade Minister. Let's talk to some of the young fellows we have, some of the members of your constituency, the youth of this nation. We have Takudzwa, two Takudzwas actually.
Yes.
All right. Takudzwa Kangai.
Yes.
Your inspiration behind what has happened today, do you take anything back home with you?
Yes. The most pertinent issue I've consumed from today's meeting is that our minister is listening to us. And he's not only listening to us, but he actually knows the background and the intricacies.
It's pretty sharp, huh?
Yes, sharper than most. I've always known the minister is very sharp.
Yeah.
But sharper than me. And I thought I was a guru in issues of empowerment. And yes, I'm very encouraged and motivated to walk away from this and tell every Zimbabwean I meet, pro-policy and anti-policy, that guys, we have a listening minister, So.
Mr. Chengo, in terms of what was discussed by a lot of young people today, does it correlate with the law of the land, or do you think that in the new government we're going to have to amend some of the laws in order to encapsulate what young people's expectations are?
Yes, it does correlates, but what has to be noted is indigenization is innovative.
Okay.
It's a new phenomenon.
A new thought process.
Yes, a new thought. Laws have to be developed.
Okay.
So, yes, and this is what the ministry is trying to do, is to develop new laws to accommodate the new paradigm.
Okay. Mr. Moringa.
Sorry, I felt like a lawyer, you're skipping me.
Yes.
I mean, I totally agree with Mr. Chengo, and I think as far as the law is concerned, I think the point we've been missing as Zimbabweans, besides whether there are loopholes in the act and so on, is what is the legislative intent?
Okay.
Because every law, when it comes into Parliament, the question Parliament asks is, what is the legislative intent? Why are we putting that law in place? That's the foundation and bedrock of the law. So if the law later on has a few loopholes here and there, like Mr. Chengo was saying, that can be amended, it can be fixed. As long as the legislative intent, which intent right now with indigenization is the empowerment of the majority of Zimbabweans, previously disadvantaged. Now we've basically fulfilled the basic foundations of that law. Number one, we're emancipating our people as Zimbabweans. If you look at international law, now the sad thing is when Zimbabwe is attacked, we're always attacked for violating human rights, for rule of law and all of those things. Exactly. But if you look at indigenization, what indigenization is actually doing is actually fulfilling international law. They don't want to acknowledge that people should benefit from their resources. It's there in international law. We should benefit from our resources. We should be able to be, self-sustaining as a people.
So we're not too far.
So
away
we are actually fulfilling international law. But I think, like the minister said earlier on, and I think Mr. Chengwe as well, that because it's Zimbabwe, no one wants to acknowledge that. Yeah.
There is a new buzzword buzz idea in town, which is sovereign wealth. You've mentioned a lot, Comrade Minister, about the wealth of the people lies within its resources. Therefore, if investors come into the country, they've got to recognize that Zimbabweans already have something to offer. Do people downstream understand this concept fully?
Well, I think there is now a great appreciation by our people that the resources that lie underneath what I'll term subsoil assets actually belong to us, because we've taken for granted when companies are mining that they have a right to these resources. It's only when they are finished and depleted that communities wake up and say, but excuse me, what was happening here? We thought we had coal, but it's now finished. We thought we had gold, but now this mine has been closed. When people now start experiencing some of the societal challenges associated with mines that have been closed, they start asking themselves, hence the state, we are saying, when you mine, when you take our underground assets, that value must be held somewhere. As long as you are taking our resources, we must have full benefits that accrue to our children. And we're taking a cue from the Norwegian sovereign fund, their oil. When we have explored their oil, we have extracted their oil, liter for liter, dollar for dollar. Their sovereign fund sits now at about $800 billion. Now, generations to come will still survive on these resources. Absolutely. Now, if they had allowed some people to scoop this 800 billion worth of oil, they'll be poor. And this is what we're now reversing, where a colonial system entrenched an exploitative structure model that left us poor. We have to change that. And that's why the sovereign fund now must be set up to hold and keep for generations to come and for present generations that national value.
It's been an enlightening evening. I think that a lot of us, especially the younger guys, have got this impression and this information that we get so often that indigenization is wicked, indigenization is evil, indigenization is going backwards.
A lot of people think indigenization is taking.
A lot of people look at this from a negative angle, but the way I'm looking at it is, I don't think that ZANU-PF meets in the middle of the night and says that we want to do bad things for the people of Zimbabwe, we want to impoverish the people of Zimbabwe. I think they've been governing this country for long enough. They've got experience. They've gone around. They've done their homework, and going forward, this is the direction they want to take. Okay. And to me, I think it's a benevolent cause, and I think going forward is positive. We should see more growth. I'm happy. I'm excited, and I think the minister he's got the youth behind him.
Msonza,
Yes, sir.
do you think that a lot of young people now understand what it is, how possible it is for any young person to access loans? Has that been clarified for you in particular?
Well, I think the youth have actually gotten a sense and idea of how they can actually access and what it means and the follow through. And particularly one of the question I had during the time was, after we give the youth or any business person the funding, do we have necessary controls around the monitoring of the, particularly because it affects the economic growth? This is what we're doing. Yeah. We're giving people money, we're giving them a platform to contribute to the growth of the economy. I was answered, and even the minister himself directed that, look, it's a very good idea, and I was even interacting with the lawyer that they're saying, look, we're going towards that, and other than just giving giving the people a chance to start their own businesses, they're contributing to the growth of the nation. So the answer is yes, I've been enlightened. Yes, the youth have been enlightened, and the key phrase is they're rearing to go.
Mr. Moringira, one very important aspect that a lot of people have been discussing tonight is the equitable distribution of shares. And there's a perception that the rich will get richer while the poorer become poorer.
Well, I think it's one of the if I can say, the darkest shadows or the myths within indigenization, that you only have an elite that's benefiting. Because if you look at indigenization, the framework of broad-based economic empowerment, where the government actually took the decision, right, to say that we want to empower the broad masses. And I think this then is tailor-made to, ZANU-PF as the party that's actually pushing this policy, their own principles of broad-based empowerment. So the vehicles that are there, look at the community trusts, which are actually looking at an entire district of people in that district, numbering between 100,000, 200,000 people in a district. If you look at Shurugu, it has about 140 or so thousand people. Now those people are getting 10% within Mimosa Mine. If you look at Chegutu Zimba, they're getting 10% within Zimplats, the second largest platinum company in the world. So it actually means you're empowering millions within Zimbabwe. You look at employees. All these employees, these people that are employed in Zimbabwe, are not just getting jobs. Because a job, you get a job today, you're fired tomorrow, you don't have a job anymore. But what they're being guaranteed is a shareholding in that company. So it means that when they then lose their job, if I get a job today, my son cannot inherit my job because it's my job.
Absolutely.
But if I get shares in a company and I die, my wife can actually go to that company and say, look, my husband had shares in this company. Can I dispose of those shares? So I give his child. So I think it's really a policy that's empowering a broad-based, and like the minister is saying, the sovereign wealth fund is looking beyond those that are here alive today and saying those in future that are going to come. So it's really broad-based. And if you look at all the companies, actually, I have not seen yet where an individual can actually stand up and say, I own 10% in Zimplats, or I own 5%. There's no one who's come across to say that. So it's really just a myth to say it's elitist, to actually try and discredit a program.
Just wait on. The interesting part is, those who say it's elitist do not provide an answer to us when you ask them, who currently owns the shares?
That's true.
They don't. They are happy with the status quo. If it's owned by Mr. Brown, then that's fine. That's right. But if you were to come in, no, it's elitist, it's just a few guys. But we have tried to explain time and time again to say, no, this is the structure. We explained this process in cabinet. Everyone said, thank you very much. Brilliant. But it was politics. And I'm sure that this is one thing that the people of Zimbabwe must decide on 31st of July. After
the 31st, Comrade Minister, do you think that the world at large, since we're part of the global economy, will embrace indigenization, and that the West in particular will want to do business with us after the 31st?
Let me tell you that it is very important for the people of Zimbabwe to be decisive on the 31st of July and make a decision that sends a message to the whole world that indigenization in Zimbabwe is the way to go. Once our people have decided in that manner, number one, you'll see most of the entities and companies in Zimbabwe comply the day after.
On the 32nd?
On the 1st of August. Yeah. I can tell you here, Barclays will change its attitudes towards our people immediately. Standard Bank will do the same. Old Mutual will do the same. So right now they want to comply because this is nothing new. The world over they do this. But because in Africa we're expected to be taken advantage of, and we're willing in many respects to say, yes, sir, if we get 10%, it's enough. But now that we have put our policy as one of the key issues this election must decide on, once that decision has been made, we're not just freeing ourselves, we're freeing, I am sure, probably the rest of Africa.
Indeed, sir. Yeah. That's true, indeed, sir. Well, Zimbabwe continues to have a lot of pioneering. We continue to be the center of international attention, as you alluded to earlier on, Comrade Minister, and I think it's an opportunity for all of us to work together as a country and to show the world that these policies are indeed possible. Thank you so much for your time and your hospitality, Comrade Minister, and to the lady and gentleman as part of this panel tonight. To the doctor, Dr. Lady. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our youth council is your council. So please feel free to engage with the Minister of Youth. Musachke, just knock, and the door shall be open. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. Thank you very much for the support that you've shown. And also thank you very much for what you'll do on the 31st of July. Thank you very much and good night. Barbara?
Okay, but was tonight, did it go according to your expectations? So you happy?
I think it did. It was good that the young people have met with the minister.
Okay.
They've told him their concerns, and we will take this into cognizance. Like we're going to start a page group for the young people, which is going to be able to help us to communicate with the young people on a constant basis.
We're moving forward.
Yes.
It was okay.
Yeah,
You had a good time?
Educated. The dinner was well organized and it was very beneficial.
Dokuva vati kudi Minister
I'm giving you power
Masimba
to
ose
go and do justice to your community.